everybody, welcome to the Glen Kuiper Show, a special edition of the Glen Kuiper Show. We're calling it our multi-stream post-game special. You see those gentlemen, you recognize them, Marty Lurie and friends, the podcast. There's Marty and Eric Romo, Giant Sports Talk Live podcast. Our buddy Glen is here. He's excited. We all got to see two Giants wins today. Gentlemen, how are you today?
Good. Doing great.
Everybody good? Think about this, guys. Think about this. How often do we get excited to talk about one Giants win in a day? Tonight we get to talk about two. I think in the course of this very difficult season, we should really enjoy the festivities tonight. Two Giants wins. They played pretty good baseball today. We got to give them that.
Yeah. Absolutely. I mean, you got Wisenhunt Robbie Ray in that first game looked great, and then the young Wisenhunt, I thought he looked pretty good. 5 innings, he got a little bit of trouble there in that 6th. They had to kind of go get him, but the pitching, it came through as far as the starting pitching is concerned, right, Marty?
Well, for me, it's the hitting. The hitting has just really just been dynamic, and this is going on. And I think I tweeted about a month ago. It said, pitching is still a question mark, but boy, the hitting. This is what we saw in spring training, Glenn, when you were down there. Every day we said, look, they got a guy coming up in the order every time who can do something. And I think they could hit as well as anybody in the league. And I think that's the difference now. You flip that order, and here comes a rise. And then you get Eldridge. And the other thing I've always said, you need surprises. And they got surprises. They got Jung-Ho Lee having an MVP batting title kind of season. And they got Eldridge probably fighting now for Rookie of the Year with Stewart of Cincinnati, if he continues that. And you put a rise in there and you get Devers. You got 9 guys. One day it's going to be Adames to get a hit. Next day, Arise gets 3 hits. Then Eldridge gets 2 hits. Then all of a sudden, Susac gets a hit. Or Gilbert gets hit by a pitch and does something. So for me, the offense is what is this story? And it really helps the pitching out because the pitching is the issue. And I'll tell you again, we'll say it on this show tonight. I'll say it Sunday. This thing is far from over. You look at the other teams in this wild card race. Let's forget about the Dodgers. You look at the other teams in the wild card race, and they got 35 losses, 36, 37, 38, 39. And the Giants have 43. But they have they have 88 games to go. 88 games to go. And believe me, they can hit their way through this thing. And I think that's the big thing for me.
Glenn, what do you think about today?
I agree with Marty. The bats have come alive. The key factor is not just getting the hits. Getting the hits timely as well. It's one thing to get a lot of hits, but if you can't produce runs, which has been an issue for this Giants team throughout this season, it'll continue to be a problem. They've got to be able to, when they get ducks in the pond, you got to score them. I disagree with Marty in one respect, though. I think there are too many teams to leapfrog. I think I'm not getting overly excited on the season. It was a good day. But I'm not getting excited about the season because I think the key thing people are forgetting is I think this team still has to restructure itself. I think once you approach the trade deadline, this team's going to get worse before it gets better. And I think that should be the plan because I don't think this is a team that can continue to keep putting Band-Aids on it. And, well, we can get back in the race and plug some holes in the dam. I think they've got to look long picture instead of short picture, and they've got to look to rebuild it and not necessarily rebuild, but at least develop this team around a guy like Eldridge. And you got Lee, and you got some players here you can work with. And I know it is going to be a touchy subject, but I think Logan Webb has got to go. He's the only guy who's going to bring us in some talent, some young talent, because I'm tired of a team that makes the playoff once in a dozen years and is dispatched by our good friends the Dodgers in the first round. So what did that really mean? It's been an organization that's gone nowhere for a decade. I think you got to go young, and I don't think Logan Webb will be a real factor when this team then becomes competitive.
All right, we'll spend the back half of the show on the wonderful trade deadline rumors, which are humming already. But let's go back to game one today, which was finished this morning, started this morning. And I thought the 7-2 final, I thought the biggest thing from that was Robbie Ray. I mean, he came in, started the day today. Technically, it was a relief performance, but he pitched really well. And it has not been a great year for Robbie Ray. And I think for a number of reasons. Obviously, he pitched well. He looked more like Robbie Ray last year. He helped the Giants win the game. But I think what's going to help the Giants with, what Glen was kind of talking about is this is a guy that I think you could get something for at the trade deadline. And if he can string together some good starts, that's a really good thing because he's going to help the Giants win some games, which we all want. But he's also going to become a more attractive piece to other teams. I think Robbie Ray will indeed get traded, and how he pitches in the next month is going to determine how much the Giants get in return. So I thought the Ray performance today was probably the biggest part of game one of that doubleheader.
Absolutely. Yeah, it was fantastic. I mean, the thing that I liked about him is he was commanding, because one thing I was noticing his last few starts, he kept missing high glove side every time on, high arm side with his fastball. He just could not locate the fastball. And today he did, and he got, 8 punch outs, only walked 2, and he went 6 1/3. You don't see a whole lot of that in the Giant staff here recently. They just can't go deep. So it was nice to see Robbie Ray being able to, not only that, it helps his value, but you also help the bullpen a little bit because you should have only had to go to one guy, but they went up going to 2, and Killian only had to throw 8 pitches to finish it off. But I think he did a fantastic job today. Again, it bodes well for what the future holds for the Giants.
I think we saw today. Oh, sorry, Marty. I was just going to say that I thought we saw today what a complete package would look like. We've got the hitting. I said to Eric earlier, we did a post-game show after game one, and Eric brought up the stats. We had to bring it up a second time. I said, look, Eric, I said, a guy who was a middle of the road, an average ball fan would look at the stat package and say, oh my God, you got 300 plus hitters. You got a whole bunch of guys that are hovering around 280 right now. How can this team be so far behind at this point in the season? But we saw it today. If they can piece together good innings and get a balanced outing, game after game, or in somewhat of a stretch, the team can be competitive. It's all about the pitching. We went short in the pitching in the offseason, and that's hurting us. That's the whole predicament we're in.
Look, the Braves stink right now. And the Braves are very vulnerable to left-handed pitching. And Vitello used the lefties like crazy today, and it worked. Robbie Ray was lucky Albies didn't ask for an ABS ruling. That would have created a real mess for him in that inning. That ball was a foot over his head, and Albies just stood there and got Ray out of trouble because he started throwing strikes right after that. He pitched against a team that's very vulnerable right now. They got no Michael Harris. They got no Acuna. Riley's hitting 202. The end of the order is terrible. You got Dubon being their big hitter. Come on. The Braves are in trouble right now, but they had such a good start. And now they got so many pitching issues. They had Carrasco in there. Holmes had nothing last night in the rain. Strider's gone. This is a team that is absolutely struggling right now. My big thing is the bullpen. Robbie Ray today, and I agree with Glenn. I think Robbie Ray is an absolute trade candidate. You're not going to re-sign him. He can walk into anybody's rotation and help him. He can do. I think absolutely this helped him because I needed to see a good game out of Whisenhunt. Because, you'd like to have him in the rotation. McDonald is starting to leak a little oil. Roop, you don't know what's going to happen with him lately. So you have that to deal with. So I think Ray had a great game today. He beat a team he should beat, and he pitched the way he should pitch, and he showed a contender that he can help him. But the bullpen is still the big issue. And I'm telling you, I know we're going to get to this later on, but you tell me how many teams scare you. You see the Nationals in the playoffs. You see the Cubs in the playoffs. We just saw them. You see Arizona in the playoffs. They can't hit right now. Pittsburgh, Miami, Cincinnati has been awful. The Mets and the Giants. So you take your pick. You could take two out of that crowd, maybe in the mess with it, with St. Louis and Philadelphia. So I know everyone, hates to hear it on this on the chat, and Marty's crazy and he's an idiot and he's stupid and he doesn't know anything. But with 88 games to go, and that's your competition, if you can get the bullpen straight, you can play. And I think this weekend showed. They go to Miami where Glen, you've been down there. Miami's a big park. It's a good pitcher's park. They don't get Alcantara. He pitched today. So they probably, can handle the Marlins, I would hope.
Yeah, well, and listen, and my thing is if you want to rattle off a winning streak, which obviously they need one of those stretches. We've all said it, where they win 15 out of 20. I don't know that they can do that. I don't know. That's what they need. But the only way that happens, and winning streaks like that happen, when you get a stretch of really good pitching, right? I mean, the hitting's there for the Giants. I mean, I'm not worried about that, but winning streaks happen because starters set the tone and start rattling off real quality starts. And until that happens, I think it's going to be very difficult to have one of those stretches. And we don't know if, do the Giants have the personnel to make that happen in that rotation? That's obviously a concern as well. But, hey, it could happen, but it has to start with the rotation. It really does. And, now we've seen it a little bit. Okay. Webb was really good on Sunday. Ray was really good today. Wisenhunt was decent. But you need more. You need a stretch of 2, 3
you need 6 innings out of these guys. You can't go kill the bull. And that's what they've been doing. So, we'll see. They went into this thing with the idea that Malley and Hauser could give them 5 to 6 innings, and they're struggling to do that. And they need some of these young guys to blossom and to be able to take the bull by the horns, because they're going to kill this bullpen again. And the starting pitching is killing the bullpen because they got to use them for 4 innings every single day. And you can't do that. So we'll see. I mean, but for me, the hitting, I just love it. I'm telling you, when they flip that order and here comes a rise, come on. And then you get Eldridge behind him and Devers. He'll hit the ball the other way. Had a couple of home runs on the road trip so far. Chapman. Someone on the team is going to hit. Someone will hit, and they're getting to be at that stage. So I don't know. I thought it was a good doubleheader, and we'll see what happens tomorrow. Roop goes tomorrow.
So 3 home runs in that first game, which, again, was a 7-2 final. So, all right, let's check out the second game, which was a 7-5 final. Of course, the Braves made it interesting. You had a feeling that would probably happen. But let's talk about Wisenhunt, you guys, because I think a good point was made by Marty. Wisenhunt was pitching well in AAA, but I thought that he looked better than we've seen him, last year. I thought the slider was better. He used it more. He needed to get a third pitch to be effective in the big leagues. And I saw it tonight. He got some outs with a pretty good slider. I thought that was a big deal. We know the changeup is good. If he could just pound the strike zone a little bit more, I think he's got a chance to be a back-end starter at the major league level. I don't think he's anything more than that, but it was good. I thought he looked like more of a big league pitcher today than he did when we saw him last year, when I think he made 5 or 6 starts. What do you guys think of Wisenhunt?
Yeah, I liked him. And to your point, Glenn, adding that third pitch is huge. He just can't live off the fastball and change. You could do that maybe coming out of the bullpen, but you ain't going to be able to do that if you're going to have to go 2 times through the order, because that seems like kind of where they're at right now. And it was nice. I mean, he threw 85 pitches, got through 5 innings. He came out for the 6th. Would have been nice to see him complete the 6th, but he didn't have a lot of strikeouts, but he had 2s across the board, I noticed, which was interesting. But I liked what I saw from him. I mean, as far as what we've been seeing out of the rotation lately of Roop and McDonald and Hauser, I thought he did pretty good. I thought he did a pretty good job. And hey, like you said, where does this lead? We don't know, because as Glenn was alleging here, or alluding to, I should say, the team isn't going to go anywhere without pitching. You got to be able to throw that ball, and you got to be able to close games late. And again, those are question marks, I think, for the club right now, and that's why for me, I'm more pessimistic than others. But yeah, it is what it is. And hey, you think? And here's a question I want to ask you, Glenn. Do you think Whisenhunt has earned another start? I don't know how they would get him in there.
Well, yeah, I mean, yeah, he may have earned it, but you got to have a spot for him. That's the problem. Yeah. And Mally's going to come back. And again, I mean, Mally has not been good. And I think of all these pitchers, to me, he may be the most disappointing of them all. And I say that because he was hurt some last year, but he had an ERA in the low 2s last year. And you know who vouched for him? Like said, this guy, I love him. I like the way he pitches. He gets after it. He's got good stuff. Bruce Bochy said that.
Yeah.
Bruce Bochy was his manager. I trust Bruce Bochy if he says something, right? But Mally just has not looked good. So, but the point here is they need to get Mally going, have him make 4 or 5 good starts, and then you can trade him.
Get off of him, yeah.
And then you got a spot for McDonald, you got a spot for Whisenhunt. If you trade, you know what I'm saying? I mean, if we got to find out if these kids are ready to pitch every 5th day in the big leagues starting next year. We got to find this out with McDonald. We got to find it out with Whisenhunt. And we'll see. We'll see. But yeah, I would love to see him stay in the rotation, but there's got to be a spot for him. And I don't know that right now there is, but he is, I think, a big part of the future. But again, we're also talking about a guy who I think is a 4th or 5th starter, so, but that's not taking away that there is some legitimate potential for this left-hander. And I think he will pitch in the big leagues for a long time.
Yeah, the changeup was his pitch tonight, but as you guys said, it was set up because he had something else to set it up. He had like 9 outs at one point, I heard him say, on the changeup. He had everyone reaching for it. Keep in mind, this is a Braves team very vulnerable to left-handed pitching. In runners in scoring position, he was 0 for 3, and then he gave up the hit to Riley, and that got him out of the game at that point for Brubaker. But other than that, he did a good job, and I think he deserves to be somewhere in he'll go back to Sacramento and, stay lengthened out, stretched out, and we'll see where he goes. Mally and Hauser is a guy who could be traded, but the contract is a 2-year contract.
Right.
How are they going to get out of that? That's why Mally is a better choice, and he has the Bochy endorsement as well. Mally is a guy, he's not overpowering, but he can throw that 84, 85, 88, then all of a sudden 94. He just hasn't had command of it. He has not had command of it. But if he comes back and gives him 3-4 good games, he could very well go.
Absolutely. I mean, why wouldn't you, right? If he does pitch good. Glenn, what do you think?
Oh, I thought today's outing was much more of what I wanted to see from him, and I think that menagerie of a deeper arsenal of pitches will obviously make a big difference. I don't want to be negative, Nelly, and I have been all year, and rightfully so, because of, again, where we sit now. To win 2 or 3 is great, but then we lose 2 or 3.
You got to play the game, man. Play the games, all right?
Yeah, I've seen them play a lot of games this year, and I haven't seen too much positivity. That's the problem.
You got 88 more games. You know it's starting to hit. The pitching is a work that's still let's play the games. Let's see what happens. But to jump on everybody and yell and scream, this stinks, this is terrible, get rid of everybody. It's not. Play the games. Let's see what happens. Let's see what happens.
You've been around the game a long time. And I remember the first time, I'm originally from Canada, so when I moved to the Bay Area, my wife would go shop, and I'd sit in the mall parking lot because I had to listen to Glen Kuiper doing the radio broadcast of A's game. And I wasn't even an A's fan. I said, it's like a hot knife and butter. Loved your call over there. And it's a pleasure to be on the show, first of all, with you. I haven't said that already.
Thank you. And you got a great first name, too, by the way.
Well, yeah, I'm just the other Glenn. So
thank you.
You've been around the game a long time, and I got to ask you, the thing that I keep talking to Eric about on our program is the Giants Giants got to even be competitive at this point. They're going to have to play like 700 baseball, which I haven't seen that developing. They may be playing better, but I find it. If I'm going to the odds makers, the bookmaker in Vegas, I play the under on that. And the problem, you've been around again a long time. Don't you feel that when you are in this predicament and you have to be the hottest team in baseball, and literally 6 or 7 teams got to be the worst teams in baseball? I think there's just too much leapfrogging. You'll win a couple, the other teams will win a couple. When you lose, they'll lose their fair share. I think Buster built this team, and Eric and I have talked about this. I think he built this team thinking they could get through, do well, and then you got Foley. And then you got the trade deadline. And the fact that they're in the hole this early has changed the whole perspective of the season. What are your thoughts, Glenn?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's fair. Listen, yeah, I mean, I think, I picked them to win 89 games, and I don't like to be the guy who throws a number out there at the beginning of the year and then changes his mind halfway through. I hate when people do that. That was my pick. Obviously, they're not going to get there. I think for them to sniff the third wild card this year would probably take almost a miracle. I mean, that's realistic. Now, there's a lot of games left. What I would like to see them do, Glenn, is I know everybody's thinking about the trade deadline. You know what? I talk about it on the show because people love talking about the trade deadline, and I get it, and it's always important. But that's also 7 weeks away. What I would just like to see them do, and you've mentioned this, is just play good baseball for a stretch, right? Not 2 good ones and then 2 bad ones. 3 good ones, 4 bad. Yeah, and we've seen that all year. I would like to see them pitch better, continue to hit where they play good, solid, smart, fundamental baseball for a stretch, and to see how good they could be if they did that. Because that, I think, will give you a little bit of an idea of maybe what they could do in the future, combined with maybe you trade Arise and you trade Ray and you trade Matt and you get some young, we'll talk about this next, but maybe they get some young arms, which I think they really, really need. They need some young power arms. That's what I hope they look for in these trades. But I want to see how good the team can be if they put it all together. I'm not saying that's going to get them to 85 wins. No, I don't think that's realistic. I don't. Now, if they rattle off a good stretch like Marty thinks they can, and they get themselves close to the 500 mark by August 1st, I mean, let's say they're 3 games under. Now, that's a lot of work to do.
Mm.
Now I think you could at least say, okay, well, you're 4 games back, and now you're at least playing for something.
But doesn't that put you in a hole? Doesn't that put you in a hole? And my beef with that is that it's unrealistic to think that – I think it's unrealistic to think that once the deadline comes, that if they move Ray and Arise, which is similar to what they should have done in other seasons. You got a guy, he's playing it out this year, you want to move him. Won't the team – I can't see them trading a couple of key pieces like that are in the lineup now and are better players, so to speak, and thinking, well, the team keep getting better. I think the team's got to suffer through trades to get better. I just think playing it out this year with the hopes of this win is unrealistic, to the fact that it really hinders the future of the ball club.
No, I'm not. What I'm saying is let's just see how good the team can be in the next 6 weeks. I'm not saying blow right past the trade deadline. Don't do anything if they're playing a little bit better.
That's my fear, though. That's my fear.
I'm saying let's just with this. Let's just see. They haven't been able to put it all together, and then when you get closer, see what you can get for your hot commodities, Arise, Ray, whoever, and then make a couple deals, looking for, because this idea, guys, that they need to trade Devers and Chapman and Adames, that is not realistic.
Look,
it's not realistic.
trades today, you're not going to make a trade and bring in Acuna. You know what I mean? You're not making a trade of these people and bringing in guys, say, here we go. Boy, we just got the next left fielder, right fielder, and catcher in the organization. They don't happen. You get the 4th, 13th, and 20th pick of another team. That's what's out there. They're not busting up these guys for that. They have to develop within this organization. They got to get outfielders within this organization. If they want to trade Ramos and be able to use Barracoto, or if they want to keep Schmidt in the outfield and move Lee to center, if they can move Bader, if they want to do that, okay. But these big guys are not. Webb, are you crazy? They're not going to trade Logan Webb. They're not going to do that. It's not going to happen. And everyone keeps saying, we want more trades, bring in more people. They're not out there. These people aren't out there. You've got the same people in your farm system, and you have to develop the people in your farm. So they're going to get the 4th pick in the draft. I'd like to see them take the pitcher.
Yes.
You know, I want the pitcher. I don't want the shortstop. They got shortstops coming out of their ears.
They do.
You know? You don't need that. You need the pitcher. You need the number 4 guy, Flora. That's who you need, a guy who can step into the rotation and throws 98.
Yeah, and step into the rotation. What does that mean, Marty?
Well,
this year?
No, for next year. You know,
next year.
Well, why not? Because Skeens did it. They got all sorts of pitchers who make the jump very quickly. They push guys along. It could happen. I'd rather do that than take a shortstop and have him trying to be another Casey Schmidt or something like that because you got no room for him. I would not trade a Rise. Because who do you have coming in that's better than him right now, even for the next couple of years? A Rise is terrific. He's a very good player.
But there's more to it than just saying I'm not going to trade a Rise. Well, that means you're going to sign him to a 3 or 4 year contract for $15 million a year. Well, that's what everybody's bitching about, these long-term contracts. Well, that's what you're going to have to give Luis Arraez to keep him, and you may not even be able to keep him because he's going to be a free agent and there's going to be a bidding war.
Right.
Okay.
And he's not going to get 5 years. The guy has 3 homers and 26 RBIs, but when you watch him play and you watch him in that lineup, he's worth it. He's worth it. But he's not going to get he wouldn't get it this year. He's not going to get it next year.
Not going to get what?
3 years, $75 million or something like that. That's not happening.
I didn't say 75 million. You don't think he'll get a 3-year contract next year?
3 years, 45 is something that he probably would get. And he will live up to it. This is not a fastball pitcher who's going to go from 98 to 92. He's going to hit like this until he's 45 years old. He's that good. I wouldn't be afraid to sign him because they don't have anybody to replace him.
Is if you don't trade him, that's fine. But there's no guarantee that you're going to be able to sign him because you're going to have other teams that are going to
he may want to be here. He may not get signed, and they may lose him, and that could happen. I would take the risk with Arraez. I think he means that much. Look at Jung-Ho Lee, what he has done to this lineup, hitting a lot like Arraez.
I love Luis Arraez. I'm his biggest fan, but this idea that if we don't trade him, he's automatically staying. I got news for you. He's at the point in his career where he's going to take the biggest contract he can get. This is his one time to get the big boy, the big fella.
He may be worth it. He may not go down the drain. He can hit. The guy can hit.
But what about the 4 shortstops that they have that you just talked about?
They're playing down the street from me. They're playing at Papago Park.
Okay.
Are you putting them in the lineup next year?
You don't want them to take another shortstop.
You're putting Johnny Level in the lineup next year? These guys are eating dinner at Don and Charlie's, you know? Come on, man. They're down the street from me.
Okay. So if you don't want to trade Luis Ariz, I'm fine with that. I'm fine with that.
I
But
don't.
what if somebody offered you 3 young arms?
What pick? The 7th, 19th, and 26th of another team? You think they're walking in with the number 1 pick for Luis Ariz? You're crazy.
You need power arms now.
You need a
And
bullpen.
you have a replacement for Ariz if you traded him. You put Schmidt back at second base.
That could happen.
You have a replacement for Ariz.
Look, I'm not saying it's I'm just giving you that may happen. That may be a very logical thing to do.
I'll be honest with you, Marty. If they sign Luis Ariz to a 3-year contract, I'd be thrilled. But my point is, he's the guy that's most tradable that you could get a very, very nice return back.
Right.
Well,
that's all I'm saying.
I wonder what the return would be. But I agree with you. He is tradable because he's on a 1-year deal, just like Robbie Ray coming to the end and all that kind of stuff. It makes a big deal. But to think you're going to walk out with some haul, the Met trade probably was a pretty good for Tyler Rogers last year. They ended up with Tidwell, who still can be good.
Tidwell, what have we seen from him?
Well, but he's another one. He's got the big arm, and it could happen. That's what they're banking on, is that they've got 5 or 6 arms.
The other guy
to make it.
Gilbert. First of all, Gilbert's getting way too many at bats.
Well, unfortunately, true.
Gilbert's a 5th outfield.
That will change when Ramos comes back. Your favorite player, he is coming back, and they're going to put him. They're going to put him in right field. They're going to move Lee to center with Bader.
I would have no problem with that. I'd
rather see more Cox than of Gilbert.
He's the bull. You save him for when you need. Look, they're playing tight games. When you need a stolen base, the guy's automatic.
Yeah, he can run.
He's automatic.
I agree with you, Glenn.
I would like to see more at bats from Cox.
That's because your name's Glenn. That's why.
That's why we're on this side. We're on this side of the table.
We're ignoring you, and I apologize. Marty's
no worries. I'm taking believe me, I'm taking all of this in. It's good fodder for our show because this is all going to be talked about. I agree with you. I totally agree with you. You got to know when to hold them, and you got to know when to fold them. And I don't ever want to see another trade deadline ever, no matter who the player is, where we sit with a guy like Snell and, we'll just hold him for another 3 months. You don't know. Why hold a guy when you don't? If he's that valuable and you can get something for him, then why don't you trade him and then say, we're going to deal you. Want to have a serious conversation with signing you to a big deal off season.
Absolutely.
Then everybody wins, right? I just don't understand this logic of you got to hold a guy.
Chapman, right? They traded him to the Cubs, and he wound up signing back with the Yankees afterwards.
Yeah, I mean that happens occasionally, but yeah, you would be in the same situation if you did that. Let's say you traded Ariz, you got what you thought was a very nice package, right? Okay, good. Well, then he becomes a free agent, just like he would have if you hadn't traded him. So now you go.
Kevin Gausman, we go back to the host, Kevin Gausman, bombarding. And we've gone through this a million times. Yes, if you hold on to the guy and it doesn't work out and then he goes somewhere else, you're screwed because you didn't make the deal. That's the risk you take. That's the risk you take in this thing.
But what's the risk you're taking to keep him for the final 2 months of the season when you're out of it?
Let's see where we are. See, I think if they could get to 82 games.
Okay.
82 now that they got 88 to go, so to get to 80.
But 80, they're not going to get to 82 by the trade deadline.
No, but if they were, like you say, 3 back or 4 back, I'd like to see them get to 82 wins. If they can get to 82 wins and you want to fool around with that other 7 teams, you're right. Some are going to win.
You're going to have to make an Ariz decision way before 82 wins. You're going to have to make that on August 3rd.
Yeah, I agree.
When they have 45 wins.
They may be so far out of it because of the bullpen and the pitching and all that it'll never come together.
And realistically, you got to make the decision before that, long before that, because this team has got to know what direction it's going. Show me
Well-
the direction.
Well, do you think they ought to trade Chapman?
No.
Oof.
Who's
No,
going to
I
play?
don't.
Who's Casey Schmidt? Has he had 600 at bats yet? You're turning the team over to Casey Schmidt. Put him at third. Put him at short. Put him at second. Put him in
No,
left. Put him everywhere. You
him
want
at
9 Casey Schmidts?
Interesting. You
I
got
mean,
a point. You got a
traded
point there,
Adames.
buddy.
You
He's a
traded
great-
Adames. Who's your shortstop? If you
That's
traded
the
Adames,
issue. Adames, as bad as he shortstop defensively, you got no other shortstop to put it.
you're going to trade Devers. You know,
No, Devers ain't going
Devers has had a rough time here, but do you give up on him? You just say,
No.
okay, that's it. We have Eldridge. We're giving up on Devers. Probably not.
No.
You know, guys have bad years, and then all of a sudden they come back. So we're talking about trading guys who actually have careers.
Yeah, really good careers.
Yeah, that have careers. So, look, it's a risk. It's a risk, but I
Yeah.
just don't see them blowing up everything at the trade deadline. Yes,
then
Malley, Hauser, Ramos, Ray, Walker. You know, those are the kind of guys who they could go.
I've had this conversation with people, and I mean, I'm a Matt Chapman guy. You guys all know that, right? I've seen him from day one. He's a very, very good player. He does a lot of things that people don't see. And I think his criticism that he has taken on this year has been, I don't understand it. I don't understand it. If you look at his season and look at his game logs, I've looked at him. I've studied him just because I was like, boy, people are on him bad. He had a 2.5 week stretch at the beginning of May where he really struggled. He was like 2 for 40, which we've seen.
Who are we talking about? Chapman.
Since all the other times, he's been fine. Now he's got 41 RBIs. He leads the team. And I just think the criticism that he got at the beginning of the year was way out of control and way miscalculated. And I think this guy is a lot more valuable than people realize.
You know what it is, Glenn? Maybe he was a lightning rod because of the club.
To be here. You know, he wants to be a Giant. He said I
Brewers-
always wanted to play for the Giants. Think about that.
The Brewers could use a third baseman. The Brewers have outfielders coming out of. It's another one like we got shortstops. They got outfielders that they don't even know what to do with, that they can't bring up. Chapman, and I would say this, is at his age, if you could move him to Milwaukee, who just brought up the kid at shortstop, if you can move him to Milwaukee, I think you have a deal where you could get some outfielders back who can really help you. That's the only place I could see him going. Yankees need a third baseman, but we've already seen the Yankee farm system. You know, what we got last year from the Yankee farm system.
Yeah.
So
But
Chapman, of that whole crowd of people, Glenn, Chapman to me is the
most attractive.
He's the most vulnerable because he may want to go because of what you just said. He may want to go.
He doesn't want to go.
Well,
He's got
you don't know
He's got
that.
a full no trade clause.
No, we don't know that. Maybe he wants to go.
That's what he asked for. That's what he wanted because he wants to be here.
Yeah, but
he's got a young family. He's got a little daughter and another one on the way. They live in Scottsdale. That's why he moved there. He wants to stay here. He's got a no trade clause. He's not going anywhere.
How about Milwaukee?
He's not going.
They play in Maryville. He could be there all winter long. He could have dinner with me here all winter long. You know, Milwaukee maybe. New York, I agree with you. He wouldn't want to change coasts.
He is not going to okay a trade to Milwaukee. He's not. Guys, trust me.
But to
He's-
your point, Glenn, Do you think because of the struggles of the Giants,
the family, that's the most important thing for him, and he likes his setup, and he doesn't want to drag his family to the East Coast or to the Midwest.
and that makes sense, right? Family, when you think about the family, but he.
How many
and I
times
was
has he
saying
been
this,
in the playoffs, Chapman? Glenn, how many was he in the playoffs with the A's? How many times?
was he with the Toronto Blue Jays?
3 years. Toronto. I don't know if he was with Toronto.
I don't think so.
You know,
But
if you put him on Milwaukee, he's going to be in the playoffs.
He's become a lightning rod because of the struggles of the club, right? Because the club has been
Absolutely.
so bad, and then they got to find somebody. Bailey was one of them, and look, Bailey, he's not doing much anyways, still in Cleveland. But yeah, I think that's kind of what
But
it
Eric,
is.
my point is, and I think you're right, but why him? The guy who has said, I want to be a Giant. I want to win here. This is where I want to be. Why him? Because Casey Schmidt is standing in left field and could play third base.
Yeah,
that's it.
I think
That's
there's some
the
of it.
reason.
Maybe you could get
You got to have both of them.
value for Chapman. You could not Jesus Rodriguez. You know, you don't have a position for. Maybe you could actually get a couple of real 32nd MLB, 29th MLB. Maybe you could get a couple of people like that for Chapman to really make a difference. Don't you think? If they offered him,
But it doesn't matter because they have to go to him and say, Matt,
No
will
trade.
you waive your no trade clause? And he's going to say,
how much?
no.
They'll say,
Eric, hey Eric, it
Every
sounds
other
like
spread.
we're going back to the 70s, me and my dad, these two guys, because my dad and I would do that. My dad would say, "You're not listening."
Exactly.
And I'd go,
Marty.
yeah, but Dad.
hey, money talks. And
Yeah.
if they
What
offered
are
him
they
another,
going to do? Are the Giants going to give him an extension and then trade him to Milwaukee?
the Brewers would.
The Brewers are going to give Chapman at 33, sitting on a 4-year deal. They're going to give him an extension?
They may give him an extra year, or they'll give him money to waive the trade clause.
You can't do you
That
can't
happens
give
all the
him
time.
money. You can't do that.
What do you
Eric,
mean?
you know, I've said it many times on the show. You got to weigh the scales, the baseball scales of justice. He's got his money. He's got a long-term deal. And if
He
he's
does.
happy in San
He's
Francisco,
happy here.
then that's
Yep.
it.
And he's got the no trade.
I've always said to Eric, and I've taken a job in radio like this, where I said, geez, you're going to pay me $50,000 more. And I took the job in New Brunswick, and I hated every day of it.
Yeah.
I hated getting up and going to work on the morning show there. I hated the city. I said, you could pay me less now. You could trade me off somewhere. And by the way, Matt Chapman, he's appeared in the postseason 4 times, twice with Oakland, 2018 and 19. And I think it was 22 and 23
With Toronto, maybe.
with Toronto.
Yeah.
He did. Okay.
Against the Twins, I believe one of them. So
So
he's been to the postseason. But Eric, I'm all in with Glenn. Glen Kuiper says he ain't getting traded. I'm gonna bank on that.
There we go.
I'm banking on it.
And Marty's not listening. He's not listening.
Somehow you have the inside information from Chapman. You're so convinced.
I am not saying I
Like
haven't said
every other ball player.
I think you got to look at the whole situation where he's at in his career. He's just started a family. It's about comfort and happiness. And you know what? I'd be the same way. I would be the same way.
You didn't seem so happy in Susan Slesser's column when she wrote that about what he'd been going through.
Well, I wouldn't be happy either when you're getting death threats.
Yeah, that's
Why would he want to be so stuck to an area that sends him death threats?
Good question.
Yeah.
But you know what? He loves it here. He lived in San Francisco when he played for the A's. He loves the city. Was he disappointed in death threats? Yeah, that's the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard. Somebody sending death threats to a guy's family.
Yeah.
And you know what? It happens more than you think, by the way.
It was
I know,
terrible.
you know that for a fact. It happens
terrible.
more than you think.
I'm sure.
And you know what? And if you think it bothers him, how much do you think it bothers his family members? Like his wife?
You got to think about that.
That sucks.
Yeah.
I mean, it really does.
These aren't robots, right? These are men with families and children, and you got to think about that, right? When you know, we're talking about just having, baseball. We don't want to We don't want to get crazy with.
No. So anyway, Smarty, he's not getting traded.
Can we not all agree though that if except Chapman, if there's a trade made, any player on this roster, it should never. Too many people in our chat talk about the trades and oh my God, it makes the other team better. Stop. If you're trading a guy, don't worry about where he's going. Just worry about who's coming to play for us.
Yeah.
Team gets better making a deal, then you make the deal.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Yeah, that's why you just have to be careful who you move.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. And that's why I think
ultimately I think we'd all agree on the Giants are in a tough spot with
but if you could trade
I think
Casey
more so
Schmidt,
with the Adonis and the
how about
Devers.
trading Casey Schmidt to the Brewers for one of those outfielders?
But are those outfielders better than Casey Schmidt?
Yeah. Bigger upside.
Who?
Bigger upside. Lara one. There's about 4 names that they have.
But if they got a bigger upside than Casey Schmidt, then why would the Brewers make the trade?
Well, because they don't have a third baseman.
They don't have a third. Yeah.
And they have 7 outfielders. You can only play 3 of them.
I think with his production, Glenn, and Marty, Eric, I think with Schmidt's production, he's grown on me. If you'd asked me 2 years ago, okay, if you trade him, he's grown on me. He's a Swiss Army knife. He doesn't just play. He plays second. He plays first. He plays the outfield. He's played everything, but I think catcher. So, I mean, you better get a hell of a haul for him.
And to that point,
he's a good
this is
player.
his first. This is going to be his first year where he's playing all year because last year he had injury, so he didn't. He probably missed about a month, if not more.
Yeah.
This time he's playing all the way through. God forbid if there's an injury, and this is going to be a big test for Casey Schmidt to see if he can keep it up.
Absolutely, but I mean he has showed me this year his at bats are really good. He hits the ball hard.
He does.
He's a very good athlete. He's a good base runner. I think he could be fine in left field if you left him out there. Yeah.
He looks like he works hard, too. It looks like he works hard because he reminds me of last year's edition of Koss, maybe a little better ball player. But doesn't it look like no matter what you asked him to – he's done everything the team has asked of him.
Sure.
Yeah. You just have to get him out of there late in the game.
Yeah, and I think, too, I think the Giants know that they're asking a lot of him.
Yeah.
And I think he very much like to settle on a spot, which, I think it's going to be second base. I do. And I think, he understands this is what they're asking me to do. I'm fine. I'm in the lineup every day. But I think Casey is turning out to be a really good everyday big leaguer. And those are hard to find.
He's got 15 home runs. What do you think he has? What's the over-under on home runs for him?
Say, 26. If he drives in 75 runs in his first full year as a big leaguer, that's pretty good.
It's pretty good.
26 home runs. That's pretty good.
Yeah, but it's, he doesn't walk a lot, but he's aggressive and he hits the ball really hard. And that's a really good sign. Hits the ball the other way. So, yeah, I'm a Schmidt guy, and I think he can be
the Phillies jumping in on Ramos.
Ooh,
absolutely.
Why not?
Look, they just picked up somebody, Derek Hill, who's awful. I could see Ramos going to the Phillies, Dave Dombrowski doing something like that.
Yeah, they want to right. There's some teams out there, Marty, who want right-handed hitting outfielders, and the Giants got 2 of them. Ramos, who's a good player. I like Elliott.
And Bader.
You pay down Bader's, give him some money. I wouldn't be surprised if one of those 2 guys got dealt.
Yeah.
Although Ramos is, you got to be careful there. Young player, talented. Can he go to the next level? I'm not sure about that.
Yeah.
John Lee has gone to the next level.
He has.
Ramos needs to do that. I don't know if he can or not. Maybe. But yeah. Trades, baby. That's all we're going to talk about.
They have guys who could go, that's why Ken Rosenthal is talking about all this stuff. They do have named guys who could be moved. They could be.
Sure. And I think some of them will be. I do. I think Buster and Zach realize that, this it's not working.
Well,
And
the bullpen, they need a closer. A closer, that's the biggest mistake. If they had a closer, you could fit all these guys into 8th, 7th, 6th, right? But they've given it to Killian, so let's see what happens here. But that's the
what I'm saying. That's why these trades
you
they're
want to
making.
get someone, Iglesias, or that kind of someone who was a closer, who you knew you could hand them the ball, and that's their job. That's the biggest mistake they made.
Yeah. But that's why I hope that they concentrate on getting some young power arms at the trade deadline, whoever you trade.
How many more
starters
they got?
Huh?
Look at what are you going to do with McDonald's and Roop and Wisenhunt? You giving up on them, and Tidwell and Carson Seymour. They were hoping that some of these guys were going to pop, as they like to say.
Yeah, hope is great, but it doesn't get you anywhere.
Nope.
Well, it hasn't.
You got power arms for the bullpen. Name me one power arm in their bullpen.
No, Figueroa, but he's hurt.
Figueroa, but he's
Figueroa
Can't stay on the field.
Yeah,
he can't stay on the field.
You don't have a real legit power arm.
Rodriguez will be back next year.
Name me a power arm in their starting rotation.
Right now,
they don't have
Webb is the closest thing you have to it.
Who?
Webb.
Power arm.
Yeah, but Webb's not a power arm. He's a power arm.
He's the closest thing you have.
I'm talking about a young guy that rushes it up there, and every team has those guys now.
Yeah,
everybody has them.
Yeah,
and I think that's what the Giants need at the trade. They need to get 2 or 3 young guys that maybe put them in the bullpen.
Yeah,
something.
Yeah.
Hey, Glenn, can I make one announcement here? Bake That Dough, also known as Aaron. He is a brand new father. He had his brand new boy, Preston, was born a few days ago. So again, those of you in the chat and us here, give a nice little round of applause to Aaron. Bake That Dough. He's a proud papa.
Bake That Dough, the proud papa?
That's him. Yep.
Can the kid throw strikes?
There we go. I love it.
Is he a power arm?
Well, the deadline's coming up, boys, and I have a feeling that, when you're 10, 13, 15 games under 500 at this point of the season, other than Chapman,
they're 12 under.
You can trade anybody.
12 under.
Yeah. Dude, didn't we hit 15?
We got to 15.
So everybody, there shouldn't be anybody. They call. You should put anybody's available when you're that bad.
Yeah, I mean, I think you're right. I think they will listen on everybody, but yeah, I mean, Logan Webb, that would hurt. But it's also the biggest package you could get. And so it's hard. It's a really crummy spot to be in, but you have to decide to say, okay, we have some guys that people like. I'm going to listen. If I'm Zach and Busty, you're going to listen. See what happens. I think it's going to be interesting. I think they'll do a couple things. I just, you can't make a prediction at this point, but
I was just going to ask you if you think it was going to be significant or a couple of moves.
I just don't think that the contracts we're talking about, the 3, I just don't think those can get moved. You don't want to make a bad trade just to move a contract, because the guys that we're talking about, this is not like it's not like a Chris Davis thing. Remember Chris Davis with the Orioles?
Yeah.
Right? He got that huge contract, and then he just didn't even play anymore.
Nope.
I mean, these are guys that are pretty good players, right? Maybe underperforming in our eyes a little bit, but they're still pretty good players. I mean, they're not just not playing, or they're producing. They're just not producing at the level that maybe we think they should, or they have in the past. But they're still decent players, right? They have long-term contracts.
With better pitching, it's a different team.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Let's see. Look, the draft is at the All-Star game. Let's see if they take the kid from Santa Barbara.
I hope he gets down to number 4, because that's the key.
He'll be there at number 4, but I'm saying I don't think they're going to take him.
Wow.
Now, after this discussion,
I don't know any.
Why would you say that after this discussion we just had?
Well, because I don't listen to anything Marty says, so that I just moved back.
It's everything you just said.
No, what I said is you need some power arms through trades, but I don't think you should draft for what your issue is at the big league level. I don't think that should come into play on draft day.
Is it lag time? Is that what you're talking? Lag time
You in
to
the
get to
draft-
the big leagues?
I mean, you say, well, we'll put this kid in the rotation next year. It's like, well, okay. Yeah, maybe, but that's
Would you have
probably
drafted Skeens or let him go?
I would say saying that this kid, this Flora kid, is Paul Skeens. That's probably not a fair. That's probably not a comparison. Skeens was a 1-1. He was ridiculous, and he was in the big leagues within a year.
All right. Well, let's see what happens with this.
They need pitching. I'm just saying. I don't know that's the big. Oh, we're going to take a pitcher at 4. Boom.
Hey,
We're all good now.
we could take another shortstop.
I think that's
And then
what
we'd
they
have 7 shortstops in the minor leagues.
You know what? And one can play center, and one can play left, and one can play third, and one can play second. Boom. There you go, guys. Because you know what?
See, Eric, this is why I would sit in the parking lot and listen to Glen Kuiper on the radio. This is must listen to event.
Come on, did you ever get into arguments like this with Ray?
I'm
With
getting
Ray?
hot.
Would Ray ever get into it like this? No, Ray wouldn't get into it like this.
No.
This is fun.
Oh, I love you, Marty. You know that. But
I
yeah,
know.
you're giving me
This
a
is
fever.
what baseball
Man,
is
like
all
101 right now.
This is what baseball is. Right, exactly. It's fun discussion and chopping it up and
I know.
Can't even
I'm of the opinion, Glenn. I'm of the opinion, and Eric knows this, that this is not next year or the year after. You gotta be realistic and say, like you just said, it's not all going to be better next year. Maybe better to a point or to a degree, but I mean, we're not going to be the Dodgers next year or the next year. You gotta look to the future. If you don't look to the future now, I said it earlier today on our show, you won't have a future then.
Yeah. I think that, yeah, and you're right, Glenn. But the thing is the future, the next 3 years, very well may have Chapman, Adames, and Devers part of it.
Yeah,
It will.
I mean, that's just reality.
Well, that's fine. That's fine.
I
Can't. This is not a one. We've been waiting for 1 year fixes for a decade. So let's just slow down and look ahead.
Develop players.
they got to develop, right? You've said this all the time, Glenn, on the show.
Trying, with Rube, they're trying. These guys just haven't popped.
I mean,
Yes.
I think
They went into the season trying to do that.
I think there's some interesting things though as far as young players go. Casey Schmidt's a great story. Susak's a pretty good story. I need to see him a little bit more. I mean, there's the Eldridge thing is that is what it is. I mean, I think you probably
huge.
which is great. I mean,
Yes.
think about that. That's three young position players that we're spending a lot of time on Devers, Adames, and Chapman. Maybe we don't want to spend a little more time on Schmidt, Eldridge, and Susak. Now, I'm not saying those three guys are going to bring us.
No, but
This
like
is
that.
what we need to do here, right?
You build with people like that, and you start building a pitching staff.
Yeah.
You
Got to
start
get a
putting
pitching
that together. There was somebody today I read compared Eldridge to Will Clark.
It was your brother. It was Dwayne.
Wait a minute. His brother said that?
Yeah.
And Glenn, did you argue with him or did you?
I didn't know he said that. I mean, I mean, he's a pretty big deal here. I mean, watching him play, I mean,
I made that same comparison a few days ago.
I mean, Will had
we
a
were
little
talking about it, right, Glenn, on our show. We're like, who do we?
Yeah.
Some people threw out Bryce Harper. Alrighty, Marty.
I mean, Will had a little different swagger than Eldridge.
Yes, but you know what I like about Eldridge that impresses the hell out of me is his approach.
Yeah.
He
Hey,
has a
The guy hits
fantastic
a fly
approach.
ball up in the air and it goes. It has
Yeah.
And that too. That doesn't.
That's
Yeah.
not normal. Yeah. No, I mean, I agree. I mean, this is pretty special. And, and I think I think we all agree, and Marty said it best. We're talking about the offense, and the offense has been pretty good now for a month and a half.
Yeah.
I think we're seeing that this is a pretty decent offense. And quite frankly, it's being done with I think Adames and Devers. They haven't got a lot of big hits for the Giants this year.
Correct.
But I could see it happened last year. I bet Adames has a big second half.
That
Whatever
happened exactly last year. He wound up going on that streak and wound up hitting 30 home runs at the end.
The point is this is about a lack of pitching.
It's
Lack
a
of
different
pitching.
guy every day offensively. I love the lineup. I every time a guy comes up, I think they're going to do some damage. I don't care who it is.
And remember, they're doing this when you look at the guys in the lineup, and but they're getting nothing from the center field spot.
No, they're not.
And that's just reality. I mean, they're just not. Bader had, a handful of good games, but he's been out a lot. Gilbert doesn't do much. He's decent in center field. If you had a center fielder that had some production in there, and then you look at everybody else, I mean, that's a pretty good lineup. And they're scoring a lot of runs, and they're doing a decent amount of damage with really getting nothing from the center field spot. I mean, that's just reality.
Yep.
That's why I think you could, if you can upgrade the team,
yeah,
and you can. It doesn't matter who you trade at this point. We had guys, Eric, how many guys did we battle for months at the start of this year and going back to the last couple of years? Oh, can't trade Bailey. Bailey is not missed because Bailey is gone and forgotten. He didn't contribute.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It was a wasted batting spot in the
he
lineup.
had nothing on his batting card. He hit 140, and he won a couple of Gold Gloves because he could frame.
Yeah.
So they traded him, and that was the end of that.
Plus, we got Tugboat. We got Tugboat.
Oh, Tugboat.
Have you seen Tugboat pitch?
Holy moly.
He's in Double-A. Give him a chance.
He's in AAA now.
And he's a left-hander. He's a lefty.
He's got pretty good stuff. He just, I don't know if it's big league stuff. I think maybe it is, but we'll see him in the big leagues at some point.
Maybe.
It's a pretty good show. Pretty good show.
Glenn, as long as they have more Hello Kitty days, that's all that really matters.
I was there, Glenn. I don't get the Hello Kitty thing. I missed it. I don't get it. But there was
8 a.m. lineup. The 8 a.m. lineup at the 415 Club, Eric, it would make you sick.
John
Like,
Miller
these people are out of bed at this hour?
John would say, hello, Kitty. And John is with it.
I don't get it.
Hello, Kitty.
All right, guys. Anything else you guys want to talk about? Because like I said, Marty, you've given me a fever. I'm trying to cool off here. And
hey, Chap, what, as they used to say in court, what's inside Chapman's mind. Somehow you know that. You could go thought process would go, and then you looked in his mind to see what his intent was. Is that correct? You go like that with
extremely unfair criticism. Extremely unfair.
That's what the judge used to do.
Yeah.
He'd say, "Oh, you can see inside his mind." Is that correct?
No, that's not what I'm saying. I just, you get think about it. Just think about what I'm saying.
Eric and I have debated about the whole web thing, and it is going to be a constant conversation, I'm sure, in our chat up until the deadline.
That's going to be a story.
Now, let me ask all of you guys. Eric has already weighed in on it. He can do so if he wants on this program. But we talk about now Marty talks about developing young players. How do you get good players to develop? You trade Webb. Look back at Sosa. Look back at Sosa. They trade Sosa. And a lot of Washington fans were happy. What did they get? They got a haul. And they got their future. Sosa. They got their future. So I look at a guy like Webb, and we had this big debate today. And a couple of guys said, you can't trade Webb. You just can't trade Webb. But those same guys are in our chat saying, oh, but the Tigers are going to move Skubal. I said, so it's okay for them to move Skubal, but we can't move Webb. And the only reason would be Skubal's coming to the end of the contract. I understand that facet of baseball.
That is the reason.
But to say
that is the reason,
Yeah.
But to say you can't trade Webb for our future, I'm just all about the future. I've seen too many years of Giants baseball and other sports where teams kind of, just plug the dam. Oh, well, now they're saying, add one or two players and next year we'll compete. I'm reading the chat here. Next year. And next year, this doesn't work. Okay, trade a couple of these guys and try. So it's a continuing revolving door of chasing wins and chasing a better team.
What's wrong with the guys you got in the minor leagues, though, Glenn? What's wrong with the 5 that are up here now? Are you giving up on Roop and McDonald and Seymour and Wisenhunt and all the rest of them?
I just think that we come in strong talking about the pitching today, and I don't fall for recency bias. I say, a guy can have a good day or a good week.
Are you giving up on what they got in the minor leagues now to bring in new minor leaguers?
I want to see them produce in the major leagues.
I need to see more.
Yeah, but you want new minor league. You don't like these minor leaguers or semi-major leaguers. You want a whole new group of them.
I've never played at the major league level, but a buddy of mine, I think Glenn knows him, Matt Stairs. We were talking recently, and Matt said, he's about an 18-year major leaguer with close to 400 home runs. He said a lot of guys can hit AAA. A lot of guys can hit double A.
So are you giving up?
Not all of them work out.
My question: are you giving up on Roop and McDonald and Wisenhunt and Seymour and those guys? Are you giving up on them?
Oh, I'm not giving up on them, but if I can find better, they get the rotation spots.
Yeah, I mean,
I want consistency, Marty. I want to win. What do you say we are right now? 12? 12 games below 500 is not consistent enough for me.
And I'll tell you what, to that point, I think they're question marks. Let's talk as far as Roop and McDonald. They've had flashes, and they've also had some stinkers. I think we need to see more of them to really make that determination whether or not they're going to be able to stick.
Those kind of minor leaguers may not exist on other teams, because if they're on other teams and they were that good, they'd probably be up in the big leagues on the other teams. It's hard to get guys in these trades. I'm telling you, it's very hard to get guys who are ready to pop right into the major leagues. It's hard to do it.
Honestly, would Webb be the only guy that would bring someone that is right? You can't just trade Webb for just some Tom, Dick, and Harry. It's got to be someone's number one prospect in their organization.
The guy Brown from the Cubs. Would you take him and a couple other Cub pitchers?
Ben Brown.
Yeah,
you would need 4 people back for Logan Webb.
Right, that makes sense.
And I'm talking, if you want to get into the where they rank in the guys' minor league system, well, then you would need a couple top 3 or 4 teams.
Yes,
minor leaguers, and
100%.
Because look, when the White Sox traded Crochet to the Red Sox. I don't know where Crochet was in his contractually. I know he got a long extension, but anyway, when it's all said and done, the White Sox, and it took a couple years, but they got 3 people in their starting lineup. This really good young White Sox team. Yeah. 3 people in their starting lineup came in that Crochet deal. Now, it didn't happen the same year they made the deal. Correct. That was a couple of years ago. But I think the only guy that you would get a real haul for is Webb. Yes. Because if you traded for Webb, let's say the Brewers, you'd have him for 3 pennant races. 3.
Yes.
Think about that.
Yes. Mizorowski, Webb, and Harrison.
And we've got to worry about getting into a pennant race.
Yeah, I understand.
Marty, I got a question for you before we close out the show.
Yeah.
Is Marty happy? Are you happy with our AAA system right now?
I don't know enough about it.
Because
I
think we have a says we got half the people.
Photo I saw in spring training, he just hit the heck out of the ball every single day. But is he ready to play in the major leagues? Probably not. He's got to play a lot as an outfielder. McRae, a good spring, but still strikes out a lot. Pitching wise, they brought up guys from Richmond, which we're going to have to see what the Tugboat can do. And Whitman is up there and guys like that. So I don't know. I don't know enough about them. But I know the guys who are up here now are guys who should develop a little bit more. Roop should develop more. McDonald should develop more.
Totally agree.
If they don't, then you've got to get the whole new crowd.
And I think they should be developing at the minor league system. We're talking about a major league franchise, and we're developing players on the run today. I don't agree with that. And if our minor league system was that good, we wouldn't be playing Double-A players.
Well, I don't know that that's necessarily the case. I mean, Landon Roop.
You're just using the word developing. Any play. Eldridge is developing.
He is.
In the major leagues. He is. Schmidt developed in the major leagues. It happens in the major leagues. That's when you get up here.
That's a different kettle of fish, though. Not everybody's going to be an Eldridge.
Not everybody is Fred Lynn or Jim Rice or someone that just walk in and and they're Aaron Judge. Right. It takes time. But you have to believe that these guys can do it. And if you don't believe that they can do it, then you make the kind of trade Glen's talking about, and you bring in new people after you draft Jackson, number 4.
And put him on the field, starting with Chapman at third.
Because he's Paul Skeens.
Yeah.
Oh, man. This is great. I love it.
I want the team to have a future.
We all do.
Eric and I do a 2-hour show almost 365 days a year. We do a 2-hour show, and then we do a morning show now. We do multiple shows a day. And it's like we've been on recently. I said, Eric, this is tougher than the postseason, like the off season. I'm like, what are we talking about here? Another loss. Frustration.
And you know what? Let's just see if we could. We're not going to trade any of the 3 guys. Giants make some deals, get a couple of young arms. Next year, you get Randy Rodriguez back. I like the Foley guy, but he doesn't sound like he's ready yet. Maybe your bullpen's a little bit better, but you get a young pitcher in a trade that drops into your rotation. Maybe you sign a free agent pitcher next year. Who knows? You'll have a little extra money floating around. But I think that's probably the best way to look at this, as opposed to let's make 5 or 6 trades. I think they'll make a couple. I just don't know that they'll make a whole bunch of them.
Well, Ray should go. You should be able to get something for Ray. Yeah. Something that is ready to pitch in the major leagues or play in the major leagues, because Ray can win a pennant for somebody. If he comes out and gives him 15 starts and you win 10 of the 15 games, you can win a division. You're only getting 15 starts. If you make a trade, near the trade deadline. When you say
trade him for a guy who can pitch now, do you mean like pitch this fall, pitch with the step right in
next year?
Well, you don't. I'm talking about you're going to get a minor league pitcher.
Yeah.
So you may get a good arm, you may get a Double-A arm, and you may get, instead of getting the 1, 2, 3, or 4 prospect, maybe you get a 5 and an 11.
That's what I think they got to do with the Rise as well. You got to look. I'm going to say this so black and blue in the face. You got to do this. Build the future. I'm tired of trying to do the quick fixes. Well, bring this guy in. We'll be better. I'm tired of it.
Yeah,
Longoria came in. That was terrible. And then we brought in McCutcheon, and that didn't work. We bring in these guys, and then they're gone a few years later, and we keep treading water. I'm tired.
You know what?
Eric has all the answers, and I've been taking notes, Eric. Coming up on Giant Sports Talk Live tonight, we're going to have an in-depth discussion on why Matt Chapman will remain a Giant for the years to come.
Yeah, there we go. That'll be fun.
I'm tired, too. I want to go to bed. Marty,
let's get out of here.
How much money would it take to get Matt Chapman to waive his no trade?
How much money would it take for us to end this show right now?
Thanks for having me, Glenn. Appreciate you.
Glenn, you're the best.
Thank you.
I like you and Eric a lot.
Thank you.
I didn't even yell at anybody in this show. I got a little heated, but I didn't yell at anybody today.
We're good. We're good. It's all fun.
You guys are awesome. Marty, you're the best.
Good job, Marty.
How I feel about you.
This is fun. This is
I'm afraid if I call in KMBR and I call Marty's show, I'm going to have to start changing my name, or the controller in the studio is going to say, "Is that you, Glenn?"
Send me a text. I'll be on 8 a.m. Sunday early.
There you go.
8 a.m.
You may participate Sunday. We got
8 a.m. I got to get in the lineup for another Hello Kitty Day, don't I? I'll check the calendar. I don't know.
All
Hello.
right, you guys.
Early.
That was
Hello.
fun.
Thanks, guys.
That was
Hello.
fun. Let's do it again.
Goodbye.
See you guys.
Bye, everyone.
Oh man.